Good morning, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. I hope you are doing well. I'm back from my trip and I'm pretty energized and I am ready to get back to work at the farm, and there is some major work to do. So much cleanup, so much weeding, and a whole lot of transplanting. So over the next 4 days or so, it's gonna get crazy and there's gonna be a lot to do, but I'm looking forward to it. So let's get started. So I just got to the farm and I did a walk around and everything's here that was here before. Things have grown a bit, which is good, but definitely a lot of yellowing. And I think it's because of the soil compaction and the high pH, I think they just can't access the minerals that are already in there. So it doesn't matter that I put down fertilizer when they went in the ground. I am gonna probably need to do much more frequent fertilizing foliar feeds because the feeding it through the soil just isn't really doing it. We did get blessed, and I am not being hyperbolic, with a 1/4 inch of rain while we were gone. And that is, when I say it's a blessing, it is a blessing. So basically we are almost, we are mid-May now. This is generally the beginning of our dry season. It's unusual to have a rain this late in the season, or at least one that actually accumulates. And so to have that, and I was told that it was literally pounding rain at times. To have that happen here is so great because the gypsum that we have put down, is little tiny pellets, and it needs water to start to break down and filter into the soil. And, drip irrigation just isn't going to do it. So it's so great that we got that rain. I'm so happy. Now, it's still going to take more time and more rains for that gypsum to break down. In fact, we'll have to probably apply gypsum every year for the next, 3 or 4 years at least to start getting the soil really where it needs to be. But it's a start, and that felt like a really big gift. So there's that. And I do have seedlings out here. The mums arrived the day after we left, and thankfully Aiden was a good steward, and he unboxed them for me and he put them out to start hardening off, and they got lots of water, especially the rainwater, which is also good for plants. They just enjoy rainwater so much more than irrigation water. So they're out here with me today. We also have some zinnias and marigolds. I don't know if I'll have time, and also the dahlia cuttings. They have rooted enough that I can start planting those out. I don't think I'm gonna have time to do all of that today because first, I need to mow. The grass and the thistles are so high, it's hard to walk. Not in the pathways, really. There's a few weeds in the pathways, but no, it's really in the major walkways. Not between the beds is not the problem. So I need to get that done first. I'm waiting for the battery to finish charging. So while we're doing that, let me show you the seedlings that we've got. Okay, so this is a tray of zinnia seedlings, and you can see eaten off at the top here. So what I noticed, I had to take them out of the greenhouse because something, it's probably a mouse, was starting to demolish them. So this is all that's left. This is it. This is all that's left of the zinnias that I started for another succession. Now tomorrow, I'm gonna start another succession of zinnias. So we've got plenty of seed and we'll have more and more, but these guys desperately need to go in the ground. They're looking kind of brown on the edges. They need nutrition and they need to be planted. So this is the Queen Lime Red series. Before I plant them, I'm going to fill this tray with some fertilizer and some water-soluble calcium and let them soak that up, and then we'll transplant. And then over here, we've got all of our dahlia cuttings, and you can see they've rooted in, and you know that because they have put on a lot of top growth. So these guys are ready to get in the ground, and we have space in the dahlia bed. We have more dahlias right here. This selection here and this selection here are started from seed. It's floret seed that I had left over. I think it's the Shooting Stars variety. And so those, I'm not sure where I'm gonna put those yet, but they're gonna go in the ground too. And then here we have a whole bunch of marigolds. Same with here. The last round of marigolds I planted, all were destroyed. They got eaten or they got too cold. I don't know what happened, but that was like a month and a half ago. So these guys are out here now. hoping to get those in the ground and have them do well. And then the mums, I have 4 trays here. They're 50 each. These are perennials for me, so they're going to go in those beds at the back of the farm in the perennial section, and they will be there forever until I need to replace them. So this one is the peely variety. I'm going to put some photos on the screen here for you. This one is Delano Purple, and this is turned around. This one is Key Largo Golden. That's a really cool one. And then we have Saskatoon White. This one is stunning, and it produces so many flowers per stem. It's crazy. So this is a lot of transplanting. And like I said, I can't really do any of that until I get the mowing done, because it's like really hard to actually get to the beds from the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll start the transplanting, and we'll get as far as we can get. Then I'll leave them out here on the table in between all the beds, because they'll be up high, and we'll come back and finish whatever we couldn't do tomorrow. So that is the plan for today. I'm looking forward to mowing. I actually really enjoy mowing. I enjoy mowing as much as I enjoy ironing, and I love ironing. And vacuuming. There's something about that, like seeing the disaster first and then seeing it nice and clean and tidy afterwards. It makes me so happy. I enjoy that so much. So I'm gonna get these seedlings out of the way, and then get the mowing done, and then we'll start transplanting. And I think we're gonna start with all the zinnias and the marigolds and stuff, because that's everything that's up in these upper beds here. Okay, let me get this done. I'm not gonna bother to film it. You guys have seen mowing before. It's just mowing. But I'll catch back up with you when I'm ready to start transplanting. Well, that's as far as I got with one battery, because it was really, really high. So all this stuff on the edge, I'm gonna come in with a string trimmer anyway. And there's some stuff over there. And then of course the whole back half of the property I still need to get to, but yeah, it's a start. Okay, at least now I can access from the side this bed, and I'm gonna pull out, while we're transplanting, I'll pull out just the weeds that are sticking up in there. But we're gonna start with the zinnias. First, I need to pull out this nasty thistle and this grass here. The thistle I need to dig out with a shovel. And then I've given these guys a deep drink with fish emulsion and a tiny bit of water-soluble calcium. So I'm gonna transplant them in this area here. That straw-covered area is all direct sown sunflowers, and not a single one has come up. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, we've had warm enough days. It's very weird. I'll give them a little bit more time, but it's very weird. So, and also because the straw's down, I can tell nothing has been disturbed. It's not like something went in there and dug up all the seeds to eat them. So yeah, very strange. I'll give them a little bit more time, but then I'm just gonna, I guess, re-sow. I don't know, I don't get it. So many things that have happened this season so far, starting in the fall, have been so opposite of what has always happened in the past 4 years. It's like it's a brand new world and experience, and nothing makes sense. It's a very, very weird season. Okay, so I'm gonna pull these weeds up and then start planting these guys. And I figured that since I've been gone, I could, while I was doing that work, talk to you guys about my trip. Well, we left on Thursday morning to fly from SFO, San Francisco, to Raleigh, North Carolina. And that's about a 5-hour flight. When you're going east, it's pretty easy because it goes way faster because you've got a tailwind all the time. So I always like doing that, but coming back, it takes longer. It's almost 6 hours coming back. That's okay, we're used to it. Anyway, the flight was pretty uneventful. There was a couple sections in there where they had even the flight attendants sit down and strap in because they were getting reports of pretty moderate, was the term the pilot used, turbulence along the way. And we were like that for about an hour. And thankfully, no turbulence happened at all. So for a nervous flyer like me, that was great. Yeah, so uneventful flight. We got there and had a nice dinner with the family, and my sister and brother-in-law. They picked us up at the airport, and we were staying with them. And then, yeah, just rested that night. Next day, we went to my niece's college graduation, which was fantastic. She went to App State up in Boone, North Carolina. So we all got in the cars and drove up there to be part of her graduation. It was wonderful. Had a nice dinner afterwards. And then the next day, hung out with my mom and dad. Got to see their new house. We made, my sister and I got a bunch of stuff together to make brunch for them, which was great for Mother's Day. And then Sunday night was Pearl Jam at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh. And it was fantastic. It was a great show. It's the first time that my brother-in-law had seen them since 1998, and it was the first time my sister had seen them since 1996. So for them, it was really fun. Last time I saw them was Mother's Day 2022 here in Oakland. Mike surprised me with tickets to see them then, and that was a great show as well. So yeah, it was really fun. Totally enjoyed it. And then the next day was a kind of a recovery day because we'd been doing a lot. Everybody was really tired, and we just kind of hung out. It was pouring rain. We went down and did a nice walk in the rain with big umbrellas down on their like Riverwalk area where they're living. And then the next morning, Mike and I got up at 3 a.m. and flew home. So, because our flight was at 6. So yeah, it was a really good trip. I totally enjoyed it. And the funny thing is, so my brother-in-law was gonna, had planned, his family is in Minnesota. And he has always wanted to see Steph Curry play. And so because they're in the playoffs, he had booked a flight to go to Minnesota to watch Golden State play. And because Steph Curry's injured and he's not going to be playing probably for the next 2 games, he decided not to go, and instead they got tickets, cheap tickets, which this is so awesome, to night 2 of Raleigh of Pearl Jam. So they went to the second show the next night, and obviously I wasn't there, so I couldn't say anything about it, but for everybody I know who was there said that it was even better than night 1. So I was really excited that my sister and brother-in-law got to see them again, and that they were just, yeah, they had such a great time, and that makes me really happy. So yeah, it was a great trip. I was tired when I got back, was pretty non-productive the next day, but now we are out here ready to work. I'm not feeling super confident about these particular zinnias. I've just been struggling with them this year. They are just not doing great. Could be that it's been super chilly and we're only just now starting to get heat, and the initial successions just couldn't tolerate that. I'm looking for the drip emitter. So maybe this next set that I'm putting in right now will do better, but they just don't look good. They're not going in as strong seedlings. And like I said, I can't figure out what's going on because they germinate and they look super strong when they germinate, and then they just start to look, you know, they're yellow. I've been fertilizing them. I don't know why. They're not doing as well. It is disheartening. Also, this discoloring of the leaves looks a little disease-like to me. And so I'm wondering if I've got something going on in the greenhouse. Like I said, it's been a hard season so far, and we are only just getting started technically. So I'm praying that we get some, you know, more normal weather. Not that I'm looking forward to 100 degrees anytime soon, but everything that's planted out here really needs warm weather to thrive. You know, every year you expect to get better in farming. You don't expect to go backwards. So I am planting some of these zinnias in clusters instead of individual plants because a lot of the stems got eaten by rodents in the greenhouse. At this point, I think they will be better off if they have a cluster, because then at least some of them, or one of them, might survive in this hole. Now the nice thing is the irrigation seems to be working well because everything is nice and moist underneath. Like on the surface, it's horrible. Horrible. I kind of made it right here to the end where the sunflowers are supposed to be. I just really expected sunflowers to be popping up by now, and they're not. And that's concerning and weird. And it was new seed, so it's not like this was old seed. So that there are sunflowers over here that I transplanted as transplants, and they're still here. They're doing fine. I mean, they haven't really grown much, but they're still here. So maybe the fact that they haven't grown much is indicative of it just being too chilly yet. During the day, we're up at like in the upper 60s, low 70s, but at night we're still down in the upper 40s. And so I think that's probably what's really limiting things. Even though that's not freezing temperatures, it might be just enough that it just kind of stunts them. But some of the stuff that's out here that's still, that's growing has been here since October. They shouldn't care. Those plants should care. So that is really more of a function of the soil issue. However, you can see this Daucus chocolate lace flower is looking beautiful. It's nice and green, and it's got lots of flowers starting on it. So I'm excited about that because I do have a bouquet bar coming up in a couple days that I'll actually be able to attend. And I think I'm gonna have enough to harvest, because it's only for 8 people, which is really awesome. I think I'm gonna have enough to harvest between here at the farm and at home that I won't have to buy anything. So that makes me very happy. The grasses that I planted, those guys are doing well. There's some status in here that was interspersed, and the second succession of zinnias are still in there. They just haven't really done much. So again, I'm hoping that as the weather is warmer, things will improve, but I am thankful that things that I've planted are still here and not being eaten. I mean, that's a huge thing. I just wish that they were growing better. So I'm just gonna try to be patient. What I have to remind myself is that I have a long growing season, but a lot of folks don't. I mean, there's places in the north where you guys can't plant until after the end of May because you're still getting frost. So I need to chill and just be patient. It's going to be a different year. Things are slower this year because we've had a much colder spring. Okay, I'm going to grab marigolds. Now this section here did have basil and marigolds in it, and as you can see, everything's pretty much gone. I mean, there's a few plants, but they're struggling so much I'm not even going to keep them in. There's a handful of marigolds here that are okay. So as I go along, I'm going to weed first, and then I'm going to go ahead and plant the marigolds. I do have about 40 basil plants at home, but they are still way too small to go in. In fact, I think I'm going to bump them up. I never do that, but they're just not doing anything in those soil blocks, and they've been sitting out in the direct sun. They should be growing, and they're just not. So yeah, again, struggles. Just nothing's behaving the way it usually does, and I think that's the hard part for me. All right, I'm going to start weeding this area, and then I'll get these marigolds in the ground, and then we'll see if we still have time to start on the mums. Okay, so I couldn't film it because I couldn't find shade for the camera and it kept cutting out. But the dahlia bed is now planted out. So this end is the cuttings and they're small, and I will not be surprised if some of them just don't make it. But for the most part, most of them had rooted and they were looking good. So we shall see. But the rest of these, you know, they're looking okay. Starting to get a little yellow, just like everything else. Some of these, however, I don't know, like I'm looking here, I'm like, that's kind of yellow, but the new growth is green. So, you know, I don't know, we'll see. Everything needs to get fertilized. Tomorrow's Friday, fertilizer Friday. I'll come through with the backpack sprayer. I'm running out of time, so I don't have time to transplant the mums today. That will be tomorrow's work. And that's gonna be a big job because it's gonna be this bed to start with. So first I need to get the stuff out of the pathways here, weed the little bit that's in this bed. Then we can plant this bed, but we'll need this bed as well, which means I need to weed here, dig out, fill. That is like a 2-day job because the ground is hard now that it's no longer raining consistently. So that's going to be a lot of work. So what I might do, I would really prefer to have both of these rows be mums, but I might, instead I might take that bed out there, which had a few ranunculus in it, weed it, and then put a couple bags of soil in there and plant some of them in there. I don't know, it just depends on if I can get help or not, because this job is huge. And because we're getting hot, it's like a lot of hard work digging this soil out in the heat. So tomorrow I'll come back and start planting in this. We have 200 mums to put in, plus a handful of other mums that I salvaged from these beds from last year that also need to go in. Not too many of them, but some. So I'll need extra space. So I'm thinking it's probably going to end up being maybe 3 rows or 2.5. But again, have to come in and actually do that work. So that'll be tomorrow. I also still need to finish mowing because, as you can see, lots of overgrowth here. I ran out of battery power, and so I'm charging the battery, but I don't know how much effort I don't know. Maybe I'll try to do that now before I leave, but I'm running out of time and it's getting hot and I am hungry. So I might try to get the last bit of mowing done, and then that's going to be it for the day. So we'll come out here, like I said, tomorrow, do the mums, and then also I'll show you the seeds, the next round of seeds that we're going to be starting. Basically, for the next probably month and a half, I will be starting zinnia successions every 3 weeks because, you know, I still want zinnias to be blooming in September. That means they need to be started much later because otherwise, like the ones that are up here now, if they survive and they do well, they will be all bloomed out by probably August. And so I need a bridge. All right, that's gonna be it for me today, you guys. Thanks so much for joining me. It feels good to be back. I'm looking forward to coming back out tomorrow. And we have a number of planting projects at home as well. So hopefully that will be this weekend. It just depends on how much work I can get done out here. This is the priority. Thanks again for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.